I think that most smartphones nowadays are very good. They do a good job at capturing light. They also have very nice looking colors, and they're also very user friendly. They're very easy to use. So I think that you don't necessarily need a camera. A thing that cameras are good for is the control of the exposure, so the way that light is let into the camera, and the control of focus. And I don't think that these are very important if you just want to speak into a camera. I think what's more important than the image is actually the sound quality. So smartphones have pretty nice microphones, but the standards for audio in YouTube videos is so high nowadays that it might be easy for viewers to get lost if it isn't really good. So if you were to invest into something, I would get a microphone, like even something cheap like this. This is 60 bucks, at least last time I checked. Blue Snowball. And it's also important to think about sound because most people won't even be watching. They'll probably just be listening because people's lives are so busy that if it's not something very, very visual, they would just like want to listen to you and sort of process the information that way. Another thing which is important is your presence. If you're boring, people will click away after 2 seconds. Also, editing is really important. If your pacing sucks and it's boring and long, then no one's gonna watch it. You can have the best quality camera in the world, but if your light sucks, then your image looks really ugly. In film school, we learned that the most flattering way to light up a human face is actually at a diagonal like this, because it lights up most of your face, but it also creates a shadow here and a shadow here, which creates depth to your face. So Fair, stop filming your videos like this. At the end of the day, we're trying to capture a 3-dimensional image on a 2D plane. So by creating shadows like this, you create depth in your 2D image. This is also why, if you want to have a background, try and have a deep background instead of having like this, where it's just like a flat wall. If you have a big window and you want to create some texture to your face, then you can also draw the window a bit so that the light source becomes a bit smaller. That'll just make it so that your whole body isn't completely lit up, and it just sort of makes the image look a bit more cinematic. You're shooting at nighttime and your light source is not strong enough. You have something called grain. It's this stuff here, this fuzzy stuff. It's distracting and looks ugly, and this is because your camera does not have enough light that's being captured in this part of the image. So what you want to do is you want to try and find a way to you're going to try and find a way to bring it up. You see, the grain disappears, or at least is reduced. Look at the shadow on my nose. Do you see that? When it's down like this, the shadow is going up like that, and it's covering my eye. When I raise it, the shadow goes down. The way that you light a subject is actually from an angle that's slightly higher than your eyes, so that you don't have your nose shadow covering your eye. You can see both my eyes clearly, but you still have this depth that I talked about before. Shadow here, shadow here. And this is how you light a subject at nighttime. Also, there's a big difference between this and daylight, or like the window as well. It's the harshness of the shadow. So you can see like the line here is very clear, and it might look a bit theatrical or like a bit too dramatic and not really natural. So what we can do, and I can show you, is you put a white t-shirt in front of your light, and I'll show you what that does. Did you see that? The shadows are not as harsh, which means they're softer, and so it's sort of like it's called the fall off. So like the distance between the darkest point and the brightest point is like sort of further, which means it's like a gradient. And for the other one, which I can show you, it's like harsher. So this is what's called a diffusion. It means you're making the light softer. You can put like any sort of transparent material in front of the light, and this is what filmmakers do. Especially nowadays, it's like really popular to make soft light because it usually makes people's faces look nicer. If you're shooting at nighttime, higher angle, put a diffusion in front of it, and make sure that the angle is lighting up your face. But if you're just solving problems on a piece of paper, then all of my advice can just be thrown out the window, and I'll probably just do what Khan University does. You know, just do it on like a program so that the image quality is the best that it could be. Anyway, congratulations on finishing your exams. I hope that you get up to some fun these holidays. In terms of the gym, I've been going like a few times a week for about a month now, so I'm very happy with that. It makes me feel really good, and I'm doing mainly compound lifts. So recently I broke a deadlift personal record, 140 kilos. Otherwise, I'm shooting my film in 1 week. One can never be too ready for this, and last night I actually had a nightmare where everything was going wrong. And it's not the first time. This happens a lot because I'm very anxious about directing it, and it's a long script and a long film, and I'm afraid of not having enough time to finish it. I still feel like I won't have enough time to get everything I want to get, but I think what helps is not to take it too seriously and just think that it's just the experience that I'm most looking forward to. I'm just gonna do the best I can, and I can't do better than that, so. Is it eating a battery? It needs to replenish its energy, I feel.